Now, with the Millennium Fund apparently planning to invest heavily in new cycle lanes, we thought we would invite Ganache of Surreal to demonstrate some of the techniques that are currently necessary to survive our city streets. I, on the other hand, believe that if you're going to ride a cycle on the streets, that you ought to have tax and insurance, or you shouldn't be there. Roll titles! Much indeed. Thank you. That was Ganache from Cirque Surreal, who are at the Roundhouse in London until the 1st of October, and then touring around the whole country. They were a wow at Edinburgh. But it just goes to show what I've always said. If you're going to ride a bicycle, do it in the privacy of your own home, not on the major road, getting in the way of us car drivers polluting the atmosphere, because that's what we want! Yes! And why? And why is it cycle riders seem to feel that traffic lights don't apply to them? And why? Why is it that they assume that we car drivers are psychic and know which way they're going to turn so they don't need to signal?
On your bike.
Exactly. At the end of the show tonight, nice to see you, by the way. At the end of the show tonight, this gentleman here, can stand up. This gentleman here, his name is Patrick Myers. Okay, all right, Patrick?
I'm fine, how are you?
Okay, I'm very well indeed. Patrick is our mystery star guest. It's almost, it's worth sticking around to the end of the show to find out exactly who he is. Who do you think he is? Who do you think he is? No idea, not a clue. Is he a train spotter or not? And this, by the way, is plastic, okay? Thank you, Patrick, sit down, that's nice. Okay, and nothing wrong with plastic. Okay, time to put up the ratings. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Kooki! Woo! More! There we are. Thank you very much indeed. Let's get on to it. Let's get right on to it. A couple of weeks ago, a winner on this show was...
Janice Blood, Oakwood,
Oakwood, Birchwood, Warrington. The problem is Kookie's brain is so fast that it's racing in front of her voice, isn't it?
So
absolutely, yes. Sorry, Mansfield, yes, what? Okay, Mike is upstairs.
Is he all right?
Yeah, she does. Mike Mansfield, of course, wanted to get his name on the show. You look like, I can't remember the name of that woman, that one who's never done anything but everybody knows. Safety pin, 4 weddings and a funeral star, went out with that black, what? Liz,
Hardly.
Liz Hurley, that! She hates because, Baz says she hates to be called Liz. So, Liz Hurley, okay, fine. Just to prove, and we continue to prove, that Kooki is not just a beautiful figure, but she is brainy as well. Before we do the competition, okay, this is a difficult one, but just see if you... I'll throw any sort of question at you, see if you get this. Who was the last king of Egypt? Who was the last king of Egypt? Farouk! Yes! Brilliant. Absolutely.
Well, I guess it's
Competition.
Okay, and the competition this week is what do trapeze artists rub on their hands before swinging?
I beg your
Shall I
pardon?
repeat that? What do trapeze artists rub on their hands before swinging? Is it A, chalk, B, cheese, or C, mashed potatoes?
Exactement, monsieur. Now, you could, I didn't know I was bilingual. You could actually win this wonderful holiday for two people in some exotic place if you ring us on 0891 48 49 50. And lines are open till midnight on Sunday. Thank you. Thank you for being there. Thank you for making this the #1 late-night television show. Now, listen, we ended up at last week's programme not really getting enough information from my guest, Billy Roberts. Billy Roberts, of course, a well-known clairaudient of... Let's get him on. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Billy Roberts! Yay! Billy, come and sit on this... Billy, have this one here. Okay. Right, now, Billy, first of all, what does one do about... Very loud director tonight. Have you been telling him what's in store for him? Is that why he's got so excited, or what?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, listen, it's nice to see you. Last week, we left poor old Jerry Hayes in some... You looked at his handwriting, and you'd managed to tell us what we all knew, that he was looking for a new direction in life and a new career, and stuff like that. But, as a Labour MP, probably, I'm sure you all... And you could talk to him later after the show.
Yeah, I will do.
Okay, but I wanted you to come back, because we didn't really get into the fact that you... became, and I'm always interested, is there anything there? And what is it? And I want to explore with you, if I may, for a few minutes. What is this other side? I mean, obviously, as a clairaudient, you are a
Yeah.
You hear voices?
It's like listening to a radio for me, yeah.
All the time?
Not all the time, no. But people are familiar with the term clairvoyant, because that's the name that really to designate somebody who can see things that you can't see. But a clairaudient is somebody who can hear spirit voices and receive information.
How do you know they're spirit voices? I mean, how do you know?
Well, I can converse with them.
You can actually...
Yeah, I can ask them questions and they will answer me. And I've had this ability since I was a child, so...
When that first happened, I mean, as everybody at home and everybody here, imagine, there you are, suddenly going about your day-to-day life, and then you hear voices in your mind. Now, we all hear sort of voices. What happened? How did you...
No, it's not like that. I mean, we have to be trained to turn it on and off. I work predominantly in theatres up and down the country, so it's a case of like listening to a radio inside my head, and they might say something like, go to the lady in the front row whose name is Mary Jones, and she lives in such and such a road. And I will go to her and I'll say, I have a gentleman here by the name of Alf, and she'll say, that's my husband. And that's how it works. Why is it, or it always seems when people are doing this, it always seems to be, you know, silly things like you left a tray on the stairs, or there was a half-finished meal, or you know, did you have pains in your chest and things like that? But I don't work like that. I mean, that's the way most mediums work. But there's not a lot you can say when you've gone over. It's little things that mean something to the people that you're giving the information to, you know? Are you sure, Billy? I mean, there is this extrasensory perception that is obviously animals have it, human beings have. Are you sure that you haven't suddenly tuned in some way, you know, that what you're saying is true, but rather than having messages come from people who've died, you're actually reading the thoughts within the minds of other people? I've no doubt in my mind, really. I mean, telepathy is the underlying principle of mediumship. If a person has a telepathic relationship with their husband, they know everything they're thinking, and the phone's ringing, they know it's their husband calling. When that person dies, that telepathic relationship continues to be. And I know many people, through my experiences and investigations, who have still maintained this link with their husband or wife once they've died. I mean, I lecture on the subject. But in my book, Beneath the Wings of Angels,
He's not in it for money, ladies and gentlemen. He's a good guy. Sorry, yes.
In my book, a gentleman came back to his wife in the audience, and she was all tearful, and she said, oh yeah, that's my husband, God bless you, and she started crying. He gave all this information. He said to me, the old cow, I don't know why she's crying. She made my life a misery. Just tell her I'm glad to be shut of her. So I turned to the woman and I said, your husband's saying he loves you very much.
Oh. And so, if somebody, you know, suddenly you see something or somebody's come and told you, tell Mr. Hayes, or, I mean, it could have been any of us, you know, that they ought to get their affairs in order. They're not going to be here much longer. I mean, do you tell people that?
If it's going to be beneficial to them. I mean, mediumship, you must understand, get the definitions right. A medium is somebody who has to prove the continuity of the soul, no more than that. A clairvoyant can give information pertaining to the person's life, what they're going to do, their health and everything. I take samples of handwriting, which is a form of divination. It tells me a great deal about the person's life as it is and what's going to happen in the future.
If I showed you that, which is Mike Mansfield's headed notepaper,
I would say that man has a confused personality. Is prone. So, oh, is that his handwriting? That's Can I change that? Highly intuitive, but could be prone to depression because he doesn't really understand himself.
Well, stop there, because I don't think we want to go on any further that, because he's leaving the building now. He's going. Billy, that is terrific. That's been sort of longer than people realise. It's fascinating. I want to talk to you again at some length about what it's like over there. Because, you know, is it a nice place? Do we all go?
You should say that. You'll be here around next week, will you? You'll be there next week. I'm only joking.
Because, I mean, what is to stop people, if you tell them it's too good a place, what is to stop them wanting to get there even quicker?
It doesn't make, I mean, a vagabond in this life doesn't suddenly become angelic.
Yeah.
A drug addict or an alcoholic is still the same person. They no longer have access to drugs and alcohol, but they have access to people's minds. So really, you create your own heaven and hell.
It's worth doing the best you can here first.
I'm sure it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, Billy Roberts. I've been listening to this guy rehearsing. It really is terrific. Please welcome Leee Johns and Easy Loving!
You turned the key and found out what's inside. You make me feel so good with your kiss. Never knew love could feel like this. You make it easy to love and love it. Make it so easy to love and love it. It's so easy to love and love it. Love it. I like the way when you do it, do it. Yeah. When you touch me, I'm excited. Tenderness eases away my pain. Oh, me, darling. do it. You make it easy, do it. So easy, do it, do it. Is this the thrill that I've been missing? Why have I been wasting so much time when all along I've been resisting? Turn the key and found out what's inside. You make it easy, love and love. Come on, it's so easy. Love and love and day on night on night on day. Love and love and I say yeah yeah. I said whoa whoa whoa. Love and you make it easy. Love and love. I love I love I love. Love and love and oh yeah yeah yeah. Whoa. Easy, baby. Easy to love, baby, baby. Easy to love now. 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 Easy to love now.
Easy loving. Easy love. Yeah. Lee. Excellent. We love that. Did we love that? We love that. Leee John's. And what was it Kooki was saying? He doesn't look a day older.
No, he doesn't. You don't look any different from when you was in imagination. You look brilliant.
15, 16,
We wanted to know how you managed to get those high notes. The high notes.
Well, I know.
Oh, okay, fine. Obviously, that was mimed, wasn't it? Right, the competition very quickly. What do trapeze artists rub on their hands before they swing? Is it A, chalk, B, cheese, or C,
mashed potatoes?
Lovely. Okay, call us on 0891 48 49 50 anytime before midnight on Sundays. Come right back after this break. Thank you very much indeed. How's your evening going? Okay, time hopefully to prick your consciences or give you something to think about. While I'm just giving you a few, just have a look at this animal over here. In the past few weeks, the papers have been awash with tales of transgenic or humanoid pigs bred for human organ transplantation, genetically engineered mice designed to contract cancer at the drop of a hat, and perhaps most sinister of all, the news that companies are now seeking to patent these animals. This is a chimera, a nightmare vision of a genetically engineered animal that is touring the country to make us aware of what is going on in our name. And here to separate the fact from science fiction, please welcome behind me. Let's look at this just for one more moment, because I think it's worrying that here's an animal made up of bit parts of another animal. Is this Dr. Malcolm Eames and Myc Riggulsford, first of all, my guests? Is this a possibility? Could this happen?
Yes, it certainly is. In this case, the chimera's campaign mascot, it's a visual representation of the horror of genetic engineering. But I think you only have to look back over the scientific research which has happened behind closed doors over the last 15 years. Cases such as the geep produced at Cambridge, which was half sheep, half goat, to see that this is actually a very visual representation of genetic engineering.
Mike, does it happen now? Would people do something like this?
I think this is a very clever campaign mascot by the BUAV, and it's about what I'd expect from them. We've been using genetic engineering recently in mice, for example, in cystic fibrosis, to produce a mouse model of a human disease. We were able to investigate that mouse for about 6 months. We're now into human clinical trials for the very first time for a treatment that might actually help humans.
Tell me,
now,
Myc,
the mice just look like normal mice.
Tell me about this mouse that is now available, that if you are a researcher and you want a mouse with cancer, you don't have to actually give a mouse cancer. Now, you go to one of these companies who've made this mouse and you buy a cancerous mouse. They breed them cancerous.
This is a particular sort of mouse that's being used in cancer research, or could be used in cancer research. It's actually really quite a complicated thing to do, to knock out a single gene that would give you an animal that had the same disease as a human would have, or to study animal diseases in veterinary work. And if you do that, then obviously you're going to have to invest a lot of money to do it. So patenting it, I think, is the company trying to protect their interests. But the important thing for you and me, James, is that there are people working on these diseases, people are dying of them, we need treatment.
Once these companies, as I understand it, and I'm just a layman, so keep me on the right track, once these companies patent different animals that they have genetically engineered, where is it going to stop? Because companies then are going to take out a patent and say, I'm sorry, you can't have a pig, we patent this sort of pig, or you can't have a donkey, or you can't have a cat, or whatever. I mean, it is open to abuse, and can we actually believe that when big business becomes mega big business, that we can actually trust that they're going to work in our own best interests?
Well, that's something, obviously, that would worry me just as much as you. I'm working for charities that are spending money. We're not making money out of our work, and we're trying to get treatments for people, but also we're conscious that we have to treat the animals properly. If big business comes into it, then yes, it needs to be regulated properly, and I think that's quite right. There's a guy that's just taken a patent now on 2 prime numbers to show you how ridiculous some patents might be.
This has to be stopped, I think, in my opinion. Dr. Eames, let me come to you. Surely, if we do not carry out some of this experimentation on animals, medical research is just going to stop. It's not going to advance.
No, I wouldn't accept that at all. And I think let's have a look just at the oncomouse case in the first instance. The interesting thing about that patent is that it doesn't just simply cover onco-cancer mice. That's mice that have been genetically pre-programmed to develop cancer. It also covers any other non-human onco-animal that's produced by the method set out in the patent. So that can cover an onco-cat, an onco-dog, an onco-chimpanzee.
Yeah, but surely if people are actually doing this to try and fight cancer in human beings, I mean, surely there's a reason behind doing it.
Well, clearly one of the main reasons behind doing it was that DuPont, the American chemical giant, actually invested a vast amount of money in this research program at Harvard University. The evidence simply is not there that this type
Can
of
I just come back to that
animal,
I mean, nobody
has led to any medical research.
Nobody just invests vast amounts of money because it seems like a good idea. People invest vast amounts of money because there are huge amounts of people dying of cancer.
Well,
and we're investigating it with all sorts of different techniques.
Okay, let me just play this point out. Are they, I mean, are you saying they're doing this in a very cynically minded reason just to make money rather than to...
Because it's a business opportunity. And that's why DuPont have now pulled out of funding any further research, because of the public opposition that's been to this appalling case in Europe.
Okay, answer this question.
Because they
Malcolm,
don't believe
answer
that
the
it's
question, though,
profitable.
that I put to you first of all. How is medical science going to progress if animal experimentation isn't carried out? Is there an answer?
Yes, I think there is.
But you think there is? You're not sure?
The problem with animal research is that it's unethical, it's unreliable, and it's inhumane.
Listen, I
it's
think
not
we
only
might all
wrong
agree
to use
that
animals,
it's
but it doesn't provide an accurate, reliable way of carrying out medical research.
Tell that to a diabetic. We wouldn't have insulin if it hadn't been for the animal work. We wouldn't have vaccines, we wouldn't have antibiotics, and we wouldn't have blood transfusions.
You're a doctor.
You know
is he
it,
telling
Malcolm.
lies?
He's a scientist. So
Sorry,
he's not a medical
but I mean,
doctor.
it's
a bit unfair to ask him about medical things.
No, the simple case is...
Being a scientist, you should know about medical things. You should know whether he's lying. Is he lying?
Yeah. The simple case
But is he lying?
The simple case
No, is he lying?
That medical progress is not
He's not
based
lying,
on
though, is
animal
he?
research. No, the simple fact is that the major advances in human health that we've seen over the last century have come about through improved sanitation, improved diet,
I would imagine that all of us are
clinical
against
studies,
cruelty.
through using cell and tissue cultures.
Hang on, Malcolm. And all of us are against experimentation for
animal research.
Cosmetics. I am, anyway.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying to you is that medical science isn't going to get... It's OK what you say there, but medical science isn't going to progress unless animals are used.
Let's have a look at where the major advances in medical science come from. They come from careful clinical studies, from epidemiological studies.
Yeah, come back in, don't you?
The case that
So tobacco,
to us
yeah,
earlier.
the link with tobacco and cancer. Now, that wasn't done by the BUAV. That was done by one of our scientists, Sir Richard Dole, who now works for the Imperial Cancer Research Fund. Nobody's just studying studies.
Hang on, let me bring in Jerry Hayes over here. Now, Jerry is serious head for a few moments, Jerry, even though you're wearing that shirt. In your patch as an MP, you have two laboratories, I think.
I've got Merck Sharp Dome, I've got Smith Klein Beach.
Now, are you, as an MP and our MPs, interested in what happens behind these doors?
Of course I am, but we actually had legislation in the late 1980s totally and radically reforming. You have to have veterinary surgeons. But this is not really the issue here.
What's happened since? The rate of decline of animal use in British laboratories has decreased since the 1986
Yes,
Animal
we know
Procedures
that because
Act.
of organisations that I'm a member of called FRAME, and we look into alternatives. Very, very important indeed. But the issue here is rather different, because I think what you said a moment ago was rather worrying when you said we are putting a patent on this animal which we have created to safeguard financial interest. Now that's totally different. Everything else you say, I totally agree with. Yes. We do need animals to experiment on when it means either that or a human being, if there are no other alternatives.
Are you, hang
but
on,
if it's for money, well,
It's okay, Jerry,
that's a problem.
I agree with you that it is worrying. I was also saying it's not my charities that are putting this patent on, it's DuPont, so I can understand they need to protect their interest. What we're interested in is opening that science up to everybody, because if you've got an advance like that, all scientists should be able to use it to get to the treatments, and that's the important
medical
issue.
research charities and research scientists are opposed to the patenting of animals.
Yes, they are.
Because they see the commercial interest there.
Do you not feel...
Let's come back to this issue of smoking and medical research. The link between smoking and cancer, the link between smoking and heart disease was as a result not of animal research, but of human epidemiology, human population studies.
So animal research had nothing to do with that?
Let's look at what R.J. Reynolds are doing in labs in the United States to animals, where they're continuing to test tobacco on animals to try and look at the links between passive smoking
and Myc, is there really any necessity to carry on putting beagles in cages and sticking cigarettes in their mouths?
I'm not involved in that kind of smoking research at the moment. There is a need to do a tiny amount of animal work where you can't do it in tissues, you can't do it on computers, you can't do it in people, and you can't do it by studying a population. So 97% of the work of our charities is all those other techniques. 3% of it is the animal work you can't do any other way. You're not allowed to use animals if there's an alternative.
Last thought, and I want to ask
the most
Myc
rapidly expanding area of animal research in the UK.
Right,
It's not just about medical research, it's about mutant design of animals for factory farming, it's about new forms of exploitation, new forms of animal exploitation.
It's a different issue.
It's about trying to produce...
We unfortunately have taken up the time of most of our next guests as well, but I want to ask one last question, and that is, do you feel that we would be better off as as people, we'd be better off medically without animal experimentation?
I do, I certainly do. We've got to look at actually improving human health.
Do you think that actually we'd be worse off? Do you think that medical science would take a backward step?
I think there'd be no hope for some patients with diseases. We have to go on using these animals at the moment, but it should be strictly controlled.
We've got to make sure that people don't become sick. We've got to actually look at preventative healthcare. We've got to actually look
But it's not you who's doing that work, Malcolm. That's medical research coming from our charities. It wasn't you that woke up one morning going, it's cholesterol.
The percentage of...
It's the British Heart Foundation doing dietary
our
studies
healthcare resources as a society spent on improving human health is pitiful. And at the same time, we're suffering from an epidemic.
3 million quid a year
suffering from an epidemic.
Guys, unfortunately, we've come to the end of it. We will have to continue this. If anybody at home would like to make any points on animal experimentation, not on cosmetics, because I think most of us disagree with cosmetics, but on medical science, medical advancement, do we need animal experimentation or not? I'd be interested in what you think. Get in touch, please. Now, on the 1st of April, we featured an item on the Theremin, okay? The only musical instrument you play without actually touching it. Many of you thought that it was a wind-up because we did it on April the 1st. It is not a wind-up at all. Tonight, and may I add, for the first time on British television, this is a piece of television history we're going to make tonight, because when people want to look at this, they're going to pick up the James Whale show and say, first on the James Whale show. Lydia Kavina is the most distinguished exponent of this wonderful musical instrument. In fact, it was her great great-uncle, who invented the machine. So here, for the first time on British television, playing Claire de Lune, would you please welcome Lydia Kavina and her fantastic Theremin, please, ladies and gentlemen. Lovely. Thank you. Now, no, I won't. It's, a lot of people, when we did that before, didn't believe that honestly, the Beach Boys used it on some of their material, and Paul Weller is reputedly going to use it on his new album. So I just thought I'd tell you. Thank you, Lydia, very much indeed. And who, Michael? The Mutton Birds used it. Who are the Mutton Birds? A fab group from New Zealand. They used it as well, so there we are. Right, before the break, the competition, and coming up on your screens now is what do those people who swing trapeze artists? What do trapeze artists rub on their hands before they swing? Is it chalk, cheese, or mashed potato? Call us on 0891 48 49 50. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. Fans, if you'd like to get in touch at home, particularly about the animal experimentation, the address, The James Whale Show. Quick, tight close-up of the, there we are, care of MMTV, 5 to 7 Carnaby Street, London, W1. There should be a W1 in there. We'll get it in there. OK, W1. Now, because we're running over because of that bit before, we don't have time. Baz, going to have to, OK, Apollo 13.
Spellbinding, wonderful. People normally hate space movies. Don't miss this. Tom Hanks is brilliant. Great movie. As you can see.
Fantastic, and that'll pay for you going over there to review it. Good. OK, and just give me a quick tongue roll. Wonderful. You could feel the vibrations at home, couldn't you? Very quickly, Kooki, come here. What are you doing? Kooki, we're on, OK?
All right.
What are you doing? Oh, for goodness sake, you know. Where is Darjeeling? Where is Darjeeling?
India.
Yeah, I know it's in India.
The Himalayas, west of Bengal, I think.
Absolutely right! You know, you are an amazing lady, do you know that? An amazing, get a good look at this brains from the tips of her toes to the top of her nose. Here's the competition. You could win a week for 2 people. A beautiful Mediterranean sunspot. What do trapeze artists rub on their hands before swinging? I didn't know they were into that, but anyway. Is it A, chalk, B, cheese, or C?
Mashed potato.
Call us on 0891 48 49 50. Lines are open till midnight on Sunday. Are we ready? Are we ready to boogie? Yeah! Are we ready to rock? Yes! Oh, by the way, don't forget that mystery guest coming up at the end of the show. Right now, welcome back Leee Johns. He's got a single coming out mid-October, and it's this one. It's called The Mighty Power of Love!
You try, you'll see. Changes. Live your life, and love will show you the mighty power of love. Come on, everybody, stand up. When I wake up in the morning and I see all the beauty Mother Earth has given me, it is a message that I know comes from above. It's the one thing we need more of. Just a little bit of truth, a little bit of happiness, a little bit of joy will take control. Just a touch of heart, just a touch of soul. Well, now if we stop the fighting, we will find the right thing in the mighty power of love. Mighty power, mighty, mighty, mighty. Come on. Power, the mighty, yeah, power of love. If we stop the fighting, we will find the right thing in the mighty power of love. Mighty power, mighty, 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 mighty power. The mighty power of love. The mighty power of love. Come on. Yeah, yeah. Listen here. I'm not preaching to you, it's what I believe. Better take this message anywhere you please. Cause I'm telling you not to get confused. You gotta live your life with an attitude. Just a little bit of truth, you're here now. Happiness, yeah, will take control. Just a touch of heart, just a touch of soul. So, if we stop the fighting, we will find the right thing in the mighty power of love. The mighty power, mighty, 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 yeah. The mighty power of love. The mighty power of love. If you try, you'll see changes, changes. Live your life, and God will show you mighty. Give me the mighty, mighty. Give me the mighty power, power, power. The mighty. Come on, everybody. Mighty power, mighty, mighty, mighty. Yeah, mighty power. Yes, I do. If we stop the fighting, we will find the right thing in the mighty power. The mighty power, mighty, mighty. Yeah. The mighty. Come on. Power. The mighty power. You better follow, feel the power. Sing it, girl.
More music. More music. Leee John's in the house, ladies and gentlemen, and the mighty power of love. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Yeah. I say yeah. Okay, let's. All right, Lee. Great, Lee, you can come back. Okay. Was that good? You like that? Did you get a shot of this? Get a shot. Did you feel it? My golly. Okay, right, let's change the pace. Here's a young guy who's come all the way down from Leicester to be with us tonight. After the success of Kooki's poetry spot, a lot of you started sending in poems, and if you want to do that, please do. Send them to the James Whale Show, care of MMTV 5 to 7 Carnaby Street, London, W1, and who knows, you could be on the show, because a gentleman called Charles Whittaker, who resides at the YMCA in Leicester, has travelled down here to be with us tonight to read a poem, his own poem, and I think this could be a star of the future, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about bullying. It's called Isn't It Brave? Charles.
Isn't it brave? Isn't it brave to victimise that child? Because they are different. Because they appear to be something we don't like. Isn't it brave? Isn't it brave to steal that child's things? Because they have something new. Because threatening words make them frightened of you. Isn't it brave? Isn't it brave to cause a sensation of total despair, total pain and loss, and cause tears to flow from withdrawn eyes? Isn't it brave? Isn't it brave to abuse emotionally or physically those too small or frightened to fight back, whether adult or child? Isn't it brave? Isn't it brave to abuse those too small or frightened to fight back? Isn't it brave? Isn't it brave to never apologise for destroying innocence, for tearing trust asunder? Isn't it brave? Isn't it brave to mock those, not your dream of perfection? Let your eyes close, see your own sad reflection. But you can't, because you're so brave.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you very much indeed, Charles. Excellent. There's a sneaking resemblance to Chris Eubank, but I won't mention that. Thank you. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I know that you don't know who our mystery guest tonight is. Clear the floor. Please, can we look at him just before we saw him earlier? Where is it? Here we are. OK. You don't know who this guy is. Prepare to be amazed.
Maybe. I like it.
Turn it up on the floor.
Mr. James Whale, how are you?
How are you?
Fine and dandy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is, believe it or not, Patrick Myers. He is Closet Queen. And we're going to do, just to finish the show tonight, a Mercury Masterclass, OK, in tribute to that great man. There are so many of these pretend bands around at the moment.
They're just all over the place.
They are, aren't they? But you've not only have you worked, you've had his real teeth made, haven't you?
Extraordinary. Yeah, it's this amazing gig we've got at the 8th of October at the Wimbledon Theatre. We've got
I see.
the whole lot.
Yes.
Let's
Let's have a look. Can we get these? Where did you get the teeth from?
I got them from Richard Casson, an extraordinary dentist.
Yes, OK. And they're real teeth?
They're real teeth. Yeah.
So, if I wanted to walk on stage as Freddie, how would I walk on stage?
You don't walk, you run on stage, James.
Just show me.
You run on stage. You run on stage and you give it wow, and you move, and you hey, here we go. Wait,
and
you go.
Because we're running out of time, you're going to do a little something, aren't you? We are the champions. And please join in, ladies and gentlemen at home. Patrick Myers.
Thank you.
OK, watch this.
Oh, are we supposed to sing it
Yes,
now?
go on, go on.
No.
Yeah.
Cut.
Oh, can't we sing it?
Sorry, no.
Oh, we can't sing. Oh, right, OK, we can't sing it. Well, that's a shame.
Because we haven't got the backing tape.
Oh, OK. I thought we could have all gone, we are the champions.
OK, no music.
OK, right, here we go, as we go out, right?
All right.
We...
2, 3, 4.
We are the champions of the world.
Hey! And we'll keep on fighting until the end. Sing it for me.
We are the champions.
Louder!
We are the champions.
No time for losers.
We are
They're beautiful.
champions.
Give yourselves a big round of applause.
Patrick, they were very good. Just before we go, thank you very much indeed, Patrick.
James.
You are amazing.
You are
It is
extraordinary in your own way too, James.
Amazing. We'll be back at the same time, same channel next week. Have a nice weekend and drop us a line. Who knows, you could be on the show next week. Bye-bye. Let's go again. We are the champions.